Have you ever wondered why the rich people keep getting richer, the middle class stay the same, and the poor gets even broker? You've probably heard the terms cash flow, expenses, assets, and liabilities. All these four terms plays a huge role in how the rich people spend their money. Before we take a look at how the rich people spend their money, let's get a clear understanding of all these four terms. Cash flow is money you make. Expenses is money you spend. An asset is something that pays you money. And a liability is something that costs you money. If you have a job and make money from it, you have a cash flow from that job. An expense could be anything you buy, like a bar of chocolate, as simple as that. Now, a house could both be a liability or an asset. If you buy a house for yourself, the house is a liability, because you have to pay money each month that is considered house costs. Things like water, electricity, debt, etc. Now, if you were to buy the house and rent it out, the house would be an asset to you when all the money you spend on the house is paid back. Another example of an asset is your job, or stocks, if you do it right. The way the rich people spend their money is completely different to how the rest of the majority in today's society spend their money. The majority, being the middle class and the poor, will spend their money without thinking twice. The poor people will spend their money on things called stuff. This can be anything with little to medium value. Things they don't actually need to survive, normally bought just for fun. Video games is a good example on stuff, but also things bought at the flea market or the garage sale. Ever had that friend that's house always was filled with stuff? Toys, games, and other stuff. I know I did, and he is a prime example of the poor class. Note that when I refer to the poor, I mean the people with the lowest net worth in today's society, not necessarily homeless people. The middle class, on the other hand, is the people that appear rich, but aren't. The middle class spend their money on things called liabilities. As you remember, this is something that costs you money to own. They buy cars, boats, cabins, or houses. Things that will cost more than just the first purchase itself. The more money they earn, the more money they spend. The way the rich people spend their money is what makes them even richer. The rich people spend their money on something called assets. Rich people invest their money in something that will pay them back more. Successful people often refer to it as something called ROI, which stands for return of investment. If a rich person is going to spend his money on something, he looks if what he purchases has a return of investment. If not, he's likely not to buy it. So, instead of spending their money on video games, too expensive cars, or new house interior, they'll spend it on stocks, ads, or invest it in their own online business, for example. Something that will pay them back in the long or short term. Can you now see why you're still not rich, and why most people never will be? Money is a game, and the game is simple. Change the way you spend your money, and you will win.